Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. And thank you very much for joining us. And this is the latest in our series of webinars looking at how to gain value from NAVTOR products and services. My name is Richard Northover. I run the UK operation of NAVTOR. I'm going to be introducing some of my colleagues later on to go through different topics. I'll get to the agenda for today in a bit, but just a little bit of housekeeping. The aim of these webinars is all about spreading knowledge, and secondly, really essentially about making sure that everyone gains value from the products and services you have on board. Thank you very much for your time. We really do appreciate that you have very busy time schedules and life, and you have chosen to spend the time here, and we hope that we can give you some value for that time. Just some housekeeping with the platform we use, which is called 23. Up in the top right-hand corner, there is a questions tab. And if you type questions in there, they come through into a scheduled question bar we have on, or I have on my my program here. What's great about that is that I can share that with my other colleagues, and when we get to the Q&A session, we can go through and actually do the questions to answer any questions you have. We really need this interaction. We find this is the best part of the webinar for us. This really allows us to understand, A, are the messages getting through, and B, what are the questions from the audience? And that to us is the most important thing. Again, up on the right-hand side, you'll see a handouts tab. The handouts tab this week covers our brochure. It also covers NavStation and passage planning. At the bottom, you can see there is, in fact, I can see a lot of people already using it. There is a comments tab, and please feel free to put comments through. They're not moderated comments, but comments will come through. And if the questions come through on that point, I will try and transfer them up to the questions tab so we can use them in the Q&A session. So let's now move on and have a look at what we have today for an agenda. So today, in our series again, Are You Seeing the Full Potential of NAVTOR? We're webinar number 6 in our series. First of all, there's going to be a welcome by Børge Hetland. And secondly, we're going to move on to look at NavStation, a new module called User Layers. It's been requested and requested. You'll know if you have been part of any of these webinars previously that we put out a customer survey after the last one. What we requested was what topics and subjects would you, the audience, like to see? And this was one of the burning questions. What's coming next? So we're going to show you a sneak peek of what we're doing with NavStation, what is to come. Next, we're going to see NavStation, again, a new feature in passage planning. It's actually a new rationale or a new thought pattern behind certain passage planning. And this, again, has been responsive to customer requests. So this carries us on. And then we're going to go to the full question and answer session. So without further ado, I'm going to move on and introduce our CCO, Børge Hetland, for a welcome message. Over to you, Børge.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, or good evening, or good night for some of you. Thanks a lot for joining this webinar. We really appreciate it. As we all know, there's a lot of webinars out there. There's a jungle of different webinars. So thanks a lot for taking your time to join us on ours. It's fantastic, we believe. And just for your information, today there's a new record. We have more than 200 registration, and from I think it was 26 different countries around the world. So that is great, and hopefully you will find this useful and also interesting. I also would like to say thank you for responding to the survey we had, where we asked you what kind of topics you wanted us to cover. NavStation and passage planning came out on the top. And also, since it's soon Christmas, we thought we made a little twist and give you a sneak peek into what we are currently developing and which will be available for you soon. I would also like to mention that we have a lot of different things on the roadmap. And currently we are hiring more developers so that we can increase the speed of development, so that we can come out even quicker with new features for you to have maybe a competitive advantage in your market. So for you to have the best e-navigation solution available on the market. As you know, we are very passionate about what we do here in NAVTOR, and that is to make e-navigation easy and to make your, let's say, daily life more efficient, and simply to use technology to simplify tasks and operations, and also at the same time make you compliant, so you don't have any issues with post-day control or vetting inspectors. So I just want to say again, thanks a lot for joining, and also thanks for engaging. As you know, we are trying to listen to the needs of your demands, and then again, quickly try to implement those features and functions. So again, thanks a lot, and enjoy the rest of the webinar. Take it away, Richard.
Thank you, Børge. That's very kind. Just one quick point. So we discussed the housekeeping for the webinar in the platform. What I didn't discuss was that at any point, anyone who's registered for our webinars can review either this one again when it's video captured, or any of the previous webinars. And I will be referring, and my colleagues will be referring to previous webinars where we may have touched on a subject as a starter, or we may have had a short period. And for today, we may be carrying it on at in greater depth. So anyone who is registered and viewing here can review any of the webinars we've already done. So just to move back on, I'm going to transfer back to the presentation I have, which is very brief, but here we are. And I'm unapologetically going to again show Navigation Suite, the Navigation Suite, or what we call our e-navigation suite. And this is the crux of everything we talk about, because we say on board, NavBox is actually the only hardware we install on the vessel. And what it enables is it enables a gateway for data traffic to come from shore to ship and ship to shore again, to distribute through all of our platforms in a seamless, cyber-secure way. And in this way, we're going to be talking about NavStation, which for us sits right in the center of everything we do. The benefits for this really are manifold. It gives everyone real-time viewing of all the information, both shore-based ship managers and on board the vessels. So I just wanted to very briefly touch on that again. Moving forward, what again we're talking about today is NavStation. NavStation, we've been through it is a layered product, starts with the desktop, layers through all of the products we have, and you can see now at the top the new layer to come. It's not released yet, but it is to come, called user layers. And what happens is all those layers are able to interact and be able to work between each other. So I'm going to move on now, and I'm going to pass over to Stephen Richards, who's an area sales manager for NAVTOR, and he's going to introduce NavStation user layers for you. So over to you, Stephen.
Okay, good morning, good evening, everybody. Yeah, as Richard introduced me, I'm Stephen Richards. I know some of you guys from my 5 years working as an area sales manager in NAVTOR. So for those of you I don't know, welcome. And what I'll do now is I will just switch you over and go through 2 quick slides on this product, and then I'll switch to a live demonstration. So I'll just get you over to my PowerPoint now. As Richard's mentioned before, this is coming from customer feedback, requesting being able to draw on objects and things like that onto the charts. So this is due for release in NavStation 6.0, which is scheduled for first quarter next year. And that's it's not a paid service, so if you're already subscribing to our NavStation service, you'll be able to draw user objects onto here. So that's obviously our favorite price for you guys. With what we have is that we'll have a first installment. So initially, this will be each NavStation can draw these objects on, so it won't be able to get shared kind of company wide and that kind of stuff. It's per NavStation you can draw the images on and that, and then you can also add a file or an object or a photo to that object. In the future, obviously, this will be the next question we get. Companies want to do something like company no-go areas where somebody can put a no-go area and distribute that out towards all of their fleet. So that's what will be in future developments for this product. In terms of, okay, I've drawn it on my NavStation, I want to then transfer that to an ECDIS. This is also something we're working on. We are a lot closer with certain ECDIS manufacturers, so it is, when it comes to ECDIS, there is type approval involved, and it does take a lot more time because it's not just NAVTOR developing it. So if you see what you see and you have a good relationship with your ECDIS manufacturer, please push them to incorporate this as well. It helps coming from the customer, their customer as well, and not just from us. So what can we draw? We've currently got notes, points, lines, polygon, clearing circle, circle and clearing lines. And yeah, so what I'll do now is I'll just pop over and give you a live, an actual demonstration of what this looks like. So I'm hoping you can get my NavStation screen up here now. Yeah, you should be familiar with our NavStation desktop. These are all the different widgets here. So if I look here with my NavStation 6.0, I'll have something called user layers. I can click here and you'll also see it's at the bottom here. So this, so now I've got some folders here. So this is into my Dover Straits and Thames Estuary folder. I can then select what I want to draw. If I take an example and want to do a line, we might just put a crossing here for the Dover ferry. I can then label it what I'd like. I can change what the actual type of line it will be, which color I want to use, keep it as orange, and then I might just put it as a caution here. And then if I click save like that, I've then got it labeled directly into that one. And then you can see it's coming up here with the caution. If I want to do a no-go area over Goodwin Sands, I can then do something similar. Give it the title I'd like to. Oops, I can't spell very well. I can once again select the type, maybe a caution, and do a crosshatch. So you can then see that's an object drawn onto my charts here. There is a search function as well, so obviously I've only got 2 here, but if I want to do a search when you've got a really big list of objects there, you can actually search within your objects. And then I'll just, for a final example, if I go to the go-to, this will take me to wherever it is put on the mark, wherever it is on the mark. I can then edit this and I might just change it to something that's a little bit more visible onto my chart. So you can see that there. So currently that's as simple as it is. It's just drawing your objects. You may want to be drawing, temporary and preliminary notices there or something like that, or whatever you'd like. So that's it in terms of what I have to show for the user layer in NavStation. And as I said, scheduled for release first quarter next year, and then we will be looking at also making it more so it's not just per NavStation. There'll be company wide to be able to draw items and things like that. So thank you very much. I will hand you back over to Richard.
Thank you, Stephen. And just recapping, so that's really good from my side. I know that my customers tend to ask me a lot of questions about when are they able to put their own layers on top of their passage plans, their NavStation drawings. So for me, that's going to answer a lot of questions. One thing that wasn't shown there is you can attach images and files also to information you've overlaid. In that way, you could perhaps, as Stephen was showing, an emergency anchorage. Maybe you could have a company procedures attached to that same point, which will give you further information, and it makes it a more usable layer for you. So carrying on from where we got, so thank you, Stephen. We're going to move on now, and we're going to introduce Timo Essers, who is going to talk about the new features within passage planning. So I'm going to pass you over to Timo right now.
Yes, hello everybody, and nice to talk to you all again, and welcome. It has been a while ago since I participated in a webinar. On the background, we're always working. Of course, Stephen just introduced the user layer, which will be a new feature within our NavStation, but we also keep developing and further improving our existing software and our existing platforms, and passage planning is most certainly one of them. So as mentioned earlier, our products are widely used and by our users. Also, often we get feedback, and we collect this feedback. Based on the feedback we collect, we gather information and see, okay, this is to be a trend. Or besides that, we also follow all new developments in the industry and guidance. So we definitely keep adapting and anticipate on these particular items. So one of the items often requested is, well, you do the automatic depth picking. Can you not automate to pick vertical obstacles from ENC cells? So that has costed us some research, and yes, we have tackled this as well. So we included this as well in the upcoming version. Also, the UKC calculation sheet, which is widely used among many of you, I suppose. So, well, can we do not a more accurate calculation? Yes, we can. So we included this as well. And I can keep rambling and talking here, but I just as well can show you. So I hereby going to share my screen and show you the latest updates in Passage Plan. It's noteworthy to say that the version of NavStation and Passage Planner right now will not be the final product. So this is currently still a NavStation version under construction. So the final product might look different than of which I'm going to show you right now. So passage planning, you see here the dashboard and the dashboard with all the items we have. Among this, the user layers, which Stephen has been presenting in this webinar, and we have the passage planning module. Of course, to optimally use the passage planning module, it is very wise to have the vessel particulars and the passage planning settings set correctly. So we have default passage plan values. I have 3 in my NavStation, and I have the vessel particulars here. These data here entered here according to vessel particulars, they are used to automate calculations. Noteworthy to say is that the displacement and mean draft and the block coefficient, these entries will be relocated to the passage planning menu, since this is a more dynamic value that is changing due to the voyage. So going to passage planning, as we say, we included overhead clearance calculations, and we do automatically identify vertical obstacles. With this as a given fact, we are very much aware that your company might have like a value or a limit regarding passing vertical obstacles. So this is included here. Going to passage planning, as I created a little route here, it looks like a nice little circle in the Bay of San Francisco. Why I choose this one, there's lots of vertical obstacles to cross here. So it just has been for my own testing and see how the new features work and how they look like in the passage plan. So if I look here at the first leg, and while I zoom in, my first leg is already crossing 3 vertical obstacles, as you see. And they have more vertical obstacles to cross further on. So I will show you how this will look like in the passage plan. So this is the passage plan you're all used to. The layout, we keep it pretty similar. So that's what most of our users are familiar with. Although this will be subject to some minor changes as well. We will add certain details and information here that are often requested, but this is not yet included, as I mentioned earlier. So it will be more dynamic, the passage plan. So as I show you here, I have 4 signatures here, and it can be prepared by, acknowledged by, approved by. So that's it's getting more flexible. This is the waypoint list with the drafts extracted from my draft, the ratio between draft and water depth from the ENC cells. Nothing significantly has been changed here, except that we included more detailed squat calculations and resulting also in a better UKC risk management. Going further on, having here an additional page in the passage plan. Of course, you might have many legs where no overhead clearance or like vertical obstacles are listed. So we actually collect only the legs. It only display legs where you have a vertical obstacle to cross. And of course, the vertical obstacle are measured from the highest astronomical height in the ENC cells. So this is the values we display here as well. It gives the name, the type of object, the vertical clearance charted, and the height of tide of that very moment, and the position of the object. Also added 2 boxes that are often requested. We did not have that included in our standard passage plan earlier, but environmental information and security information definitely play a big role and are going to play even a bigger role in the future of passage planning. So these aspects you might want to include in the passage plan as well. So we just enter 2 boxes of manual entry here where you can enter the relevant information. Noteworthy, of course, if you only have 1 vertical obstacle, this might be an empty page, but these boxes here are auto-scaled, so you might end up adding more information here. The additional notes page is still the same in my passage plan, and then we have the detailed overhead clearance, squat, and underkeel clearance calculation. As earlier said, the template is more dynamic, so on the version in NavStation, of course, the printed output will look different than, or will look very similar, but then somehow it's less dynamic. But while working in NavStation, it is dynamic, and you can plot the decrease or the increase of squat due to acceleration and the decrease of UKC due to speed. This is waypoint 12. In waypoint 12, the system passage planner identified overhead obstacles, so it includes this on this page as well. So you have a combined page where you have overhead clearances and underkeel clearances. If no overhead obstacle or vertical obstacle is identified, you will end up with a page without none for like overhead obstacle. Also not included in the calculation, but gives you an extra field where you can put relevant entries. What we have upgraded and updated when it comes to the contents of this sheet is, of course, the overhead clearance calculation and the compliance with the company default values. Then, of course, we have the water depth calculation, which we can partly automate by picking the depth from the ENC cells, the CATSOC value from the ENC cell, the height of tide from the Admiralty tidal tables, and there is place for manual entries for additional corrections. The corrections we have entered here as a standard in this passage plan are additional values or additional corrections as they are listed in Intertanko and OCIMF guidance. So we are using their guidance as a kind of standard for our passage plan template, since we have many users taking this guidance in consideration for their own company SMS and documentation regarding safe navigation and passage planning. What we earlier did not have, so we had the, and it's wise to go back here. So I have now formulas here. I have open, confined, and medium. The formula is showing in the passage plan as well. So this is open. The open waters will not ask you for width of influence, but the confined, of course, will have one dimension in addition. So besides of the depth and draft ratio, you also have the width and beam ratio of influence in this calculation. So as you see, if I manipulate this value, you will see that my graphs and charts will be entering as well. So while it is more narrow, you see that I'm not complying here with the UKC value, and it also shows me what speed I have to maintain to safely pass here. So this is a more clever solution. You can also manipulate the scheduled passing time. If there's the depth or the tidal level is not sufficient, you can simply manipulate the time here and see, okay, all of a sudden I have more water under my keel and I am complying again. So this is basically what we have changed in the passage plan. I'm not able, since we're not ready and still working on the passage plan, I'm not able to show all of the details. So I only focus on what we have finished and accomplished so far. And our main focus was the UKC calculations and squat calculations. For those who are actually used to the current passage plan, we will not push this passage plan without approval. So if you are confident with the passage plan you use and this passage plan is in line with your company guidance and safety, then just stick to it. We only want to share here that we are developing, and we're developing on demand and on request. So this is what I have to say about passage planning so far, and I hope you find use in this and that you see this as a new that you might that you might want to use this. So I will go back to Richard now. Richard?
Thank you very much, Timo. That's very kind. So there we have new features in passage planning. What I would say is please feel free to ask questions. I know that so far we haven't got very many questions in, but we're looking forward to a lot more coming in, but we'll go through those we have already. Moving on, just in summary to what we've seen today. So what did Børge discuss? Well, he discussed that we are driven by what our customers require. So what you tell us you need, we go ahead and develop. That is how NAVTOR works. So we are customer focused and customer led in our development. Stephen introduced the user layer module, adding your own icons, objects, and comments. This is something, again, as I said, is a lot of my particular clients have asked this over and over again. This is probably the most asked questions. When can we have this available? There was a question from the floor. Can it be transferred? Can these be transferred across to the ECDIS? And again, as Stephen mentioned, that's not possible in or it's not going to be possible in the first iteration that comes through. Reason being that we have to move forward and work closely or even closer with our ECDIS manufacturer colleagues and make sure that they type approve this new feature and make it available to their customers. Passage planning module, Timo described and showed the new improved introduction of overhead clearance and under Keel Clarance. And what you'll notice again from both of these products is that the NavStation is based upon the ECDIS kernel that NAVTOR have. And that's really useful because you can then replicate and make sure that your view in NavStation is exactly the same as your ECDIS. So you can see in the same plane, you're understanding what you're seeing. So it's really important that you have a base to everything.